So, with the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith coming up, I figured this was the perfect time to revisit the best film in the prequel trilogy. Now, it's gotten some of the most iconic moments in the whole saga, the music is perfect, and all the memes are great. But the real reason this movie stuck with me all these years was just how damn tragic it was. George Lucas didn't just want to explain how Darth Vader came to be. He wanted to show how someone good could lose everything, and he used the framework that you'd see in any Shakespearean tragedy. So in this video, I figured I'd break down why Revenge of the Sith works so well as a Shakespearean tragedy. So please pay close attention if you're writing your own stuff or working on a short film or script, because there's a lot I believe that you can take away from this. And please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. So let's dive in. Alright, so one of the best ways to make a character compelling is to give them a clear flaw. Not something random or super dramatic, just something human. In Anakin's case, it's fear. Anakin Skywalker is clearly afraid of losing the people he loves. He lost his mom in episode 2, he lost Qui-Gon Jinn in episode 1. So what George Lucas really set out to do was to show that fear affects everything in Anakin's life. How he talks to Padme, how he reacts to the Jedi Council, even how he justifies the decision he makes throughout the whole film. You can also see how tight Anakin is with Obi-Wan. They're constantly fighting side by side, bickering like brothers, but still watching each other's backs. And you feel that connection grows stronger with every single scene. That friendship is actually not just a side plot, it's actually foundational to the story. It adds real weight to the fall that Anakin has later. So if you're writing your own script, try doing that. Pick up one emotional flaw and have it show up in little ways. But it's also important that you make sure the people around them either challenge that flaw or make it worse. Because the last thing you want is to create side characters that don't add anything to the plot. Because side characters are actually meant to push the story forward just as much as the main character. Now, arguably the most important side character to focus on is the one who secretly pulls the strings and manipulates the main character, which is quite common in Shakespearean stories. Now, this is where Palpatine comes in. What makes Palpatine work so well is that he really was a master manipulator in the whole story, not only to control Anakin, but the galactic government as a whole. But what makes his involvement work so well is that he's subtle. He doesn't push Anakin to the dark side, he doesn't force him to do it. He comes off as supportive and makes Anakin feel seen. But that's the move. You want your antagonist in your story, or at least the driving force in your story, to feel like they actually have a point. See, Palpatine doesn't shove Anakin to the dark side. He nudges him little by little, he makes him believe the dark side isn't as bad as the Jedi make it out to be, and that the dark side has a power for Anakin to exact complete control over his fears, with the biggest fear being of him losing Padme in childbirth. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan is still trying to guide Anakin, but you can tell the cracks are forming. He tries to still play the mentor, but Anakin doesn't want a mentor. He basically wants a father figure similar to what Qui-Gon Jinn would have been if he didn't die in episode 1. Even Dave Filoni brought this up in one of the interviews for The Mandalorian, and it was actually a pretty good interpretation. So if I were you, I would write a character that reflects your protagonist's fears back at them. Not by yelling or being dramatic, because that's easy to spot, but by gently confirming their suspicions, because that's how you slowly shift their thinking. They don't have to be the main villain, but it's someone that drives the plot along and makes the hero make life-changing decisions. So let's talk about the turning point. For Anakin, it's when he helps Palpatine kill Mace Windu. So what makes this scene work so well is that you get exactly why he does it, even if you hate it and wish Anakin just frickin' listened to Mace Windu a few hours back. But regardless, in this moment, Anakin genuinely believes he's out of options. He actually thinks that he's on the right path to save Padme. But what he's really doing is giving in to fear and control. But what makes this moment great is it doesn't feel like a plot twist. At this point in the story, it actually feels earned. Everything has been leading up to this point. And this is the turning point every great tragedy needs to have in order to work. So when you're writing your own scene like this, keep this turning point in mind. The turn shouldn't feel out of nowhere. It should make the audience say, yeah, I knew this was coming. But just know this, do not let predictability fool you. If the audience can predict what a main character is going to do, It's because you effectively established who your character is. So, once Anakin turns, the movie doesn't slow down. It goes all in on the tragedy. Order 66 happens, the Jedi are wiped out, Anakin tries out the youngling massacre moves. But what makes it hit harder is that Anakin thinks he's fixing things. He actually believes that he's bringing peace now. And yeah, it's twisted, but in his head, he genuinely believes this now. And this is where you can use visuals and tone to help the story. The world should get darker, the lighting should shift, the way characters move and speak changes. That stuff matters. So when you're shooting or planning scenes when your character spirals, try letting the world reflect that. Use setting, pacing, and silence to show the damage being done. Then we of course have the iconic Mustafar fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Arguably, this is the greatest fight in the saga's history. Not just because the choreography, music, and location is so awesome, but because this fight carries the weight of a relationship that had been building since The Phantom Menace. Obi-Wan knew Anakin ever since he was a little boy and promised Qui-Gon that he would train him. What makes this work too is that Obi-Wan doesn't even want to be there. Neither of them do. But at this point, Anakin is just too far gone. So, once again, when you're writing your climax, don't just think of it as the big scene. Think about it like this is the personal relationship that's breaking in this moment. In the movie, this is Anakin's final connection to being a Jedi. This moment is what the fans cared about the most. But the conclusion, with Anakin losing this fight, along with all of his limbs being stuffed into the Vader suit and learning he was the cause of Padme's death, this is when Anakin knows that his fears have won. The tragedy doesn't stem from a main character dying because Anakin lives in this. It stems from the fact Anakin must live out the rest of his days knowing he destroyed everything that he cared about. He is no longer the man he once was. And that is the hallmark of a great Shakespearean tragedy. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith isn't just the best Star Wars movie. It's a textbook tragedy that is so easy to follow. And if you're trying to write one yourself, there's a lot to learn from how this one was put together. You've got a clear internal flaw, a slow, believable manipulation, a big emotional turning point, a fast descent, and a final confrontation that's about more than just the fight itself. So if this helped you look at the film differently or gave you ideas for your own work, please leave a like and please subscribe for more story breakdowns.